The first core 6 strategy is called Reading for Meaning. This strategy helps students develop the skills that good readers use to make sense of rigorous, challenging text. Managing text complexity, evaluating and using evidence, and developing the basic skills of reading are 3 common core skills that the Reading for Meaning strategy helps students build. Regular use of this strategy gives students opportunity to practice and master the 3 phases of critical reading that lead to reading success: previewing and predicting before reading, actively searching for relevant information and asking questions during reading, and then reflecting on learning after reading. The problem is that some of our current reading pedagogy or methodologies don't support the introduction, practice, and growth of all these critical Common Core reading skills. When I started teaching, I thought that reading was teaching students vocabulary and teaching them the words, and that's what was mostly needed for students to succeed at reading and understanding. Take a look at the words on the screen. Are there any words here you don't know? My 6th graders knew all these words. I made sure I taught them this vocabulary. But then when I put them all together in a paragraph, sometimes understanding flew out the window. Take a minute to read the paragraph. Can you draw a picture of what is being described here? I also thought that if I had a set of carefully crafted comprehension questions that students could answer correctly, I would be assured that my students understood what they had read. Take a minute and read this passage. Now answer these comprehension questions. I'm sure most of you were able to answer these comprehension questions, but did you really understand what the paragraph was about? I think you get what I'm saying. I was teaching verbal fluency and test-taking skills. I was not teaching reading for meaning or reading for understanding. So what is reading for meaning? Good reading is active reading. This is something we know. Good readers are actively engaged with the text before, during, and after reading. It happens before reading, when students can call up their prior knowledge and what they already know and then establish a purpose for reading. It happens during reading, as students are asking questions and annotating text. And it happens after reading, when students reflect on what they've read and really seek to deepen their learning. According to the Common Core, students are proficient readers when they can cite specific evidence when offering an oral or a written interpretation of the text. And they can use relevant evidence when supporting their own opinions or their own claims in writing and speaking, and making their reasoning clear to the reader or the listener, and they constructively can evaluate others' use of evidence. So, reading for meaning, what is it? It's a strategy that uses simple statements to help students find and evaluate evidence in a text and build thoughtful interpretations. How do we do this? Well, in the classroom, the first thing that you're going to do is identify or select a short text that you want students to read for meaning. Any kind of text that you select is fine. A poem, an article, a blog post, a primary source document, a fable, a scene from a play. Even mathematical problems work. Data charts, visual sources, pictures you can closely read. They all work well. Then you're going to present the students with a list of agree or disagree statements about the text. Generate this list of statements about the text, and students should be able to support or refute them. Then have the students preview the statements and then begin reading the text. Ask students to indicate whether they agree or disagree with the statement based on what they read. Then have students justify their agree or disagree positions by citing the evidence from the text. Have the students discuss their evidence in pairs or small groups. Encourage the groups to reach a consensus about which statements are supported and which are refuted by the text. Then have a whole class discussion in which students share and justify their positions. If necessary, you can then clarify their thinking and call attention to evidence that they might have missed or misinterpreted. And then finally, use students' responses to evaluate their understanding of their reading and their ability to support a position or a claim or an opinion with evidence. So have you used this strategy, this reading for meaning strategy, or a similar one with your students? If so, how would you rate your effectiveness using it? How did students react to this form of active reading? What does it mean to read for meaning? And finally, how does reading for meaning support the goals of the new Common Core state standards?